Do you believe that Ontarians should have fair drug prices and not go into further debt? I certainly do, but taking a good look at the government's plan to cut funding to pharmacy indicates that that's not what's really on their mind. Let's take a closer look together. Do you believe that Deb Matthews, the Minister of Health, has been telling you the truth all this time? Deb Matthews claims that Ontario is paying higher prices for generics by using enalapril 10 milligrams as an example to compare to other countries. But the fact is, Ontario does not pay for generic enalapril. It pays for the brand name Vasotec instead. If Deb Matthews wants to compare generic drug prices, why does she keep lying to you and using a brand name product in Ontario to make the comparison? Could it be that she can't actually find a generic comparison that is favorable to her argument that Ontario pays more? Several pharmacists got together and decided to compare the price of two very popular generic medications in the US versus Ontario. They called pharmacies in various states and then averaged the prices that they got. What they found was the average price of 100 tablets of metformin in the US cost $30.48. Ontario's cost? $17.42. That's almost half the cost. The average price of 100 tablets of simvastatin in the US was $201.58. Ontario's cost? $125.80. It turns out Ontario pays less for its generics. Myth: the government is trying to save taxpayers' money by focusing on generic prices. The fact is, brand name drugs account for 75% of Ontario's drug costs because they are much more expensive than generics. So for fair drug prices, the government should be targeting the real problem in Ontario's drug costs, the brand name companies who are the real big pharma. Why is the government not addressing the true problem, brand name drug costs? If you click on this link, you'll find an article published in March that revealed that the Ontario government receives confidential kickbacks from brand name companies to list brand name drugs on the Ontario formulary, therefore making Ontario taxpayers pay for more expensive medications. Within the article, you'll find an interesting letter from the brand name companies addressed to the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care, talking about information related to pricing and listing agreements entered into between drug manufacturers and the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care. I urge you to read the entire letter for yourself before someone tries to take it down, because it's a real eye-opener. But just a few things to point out here. It talks about information identifying each drug manufacturer who has entered into an agreement with the Ontario government, as well as the amount of the dollar value of each quarterly payment made by manufacturers. Then if we scroll down a little bit more, at the bottom it says, we are seeking to prevent further disclosures of our members' highly sensitive information, which disclosure will not only be harmful to our members, but will also be harmful to the ministry. Who is this letter CC'd to? It's CC'd to Deb Matthews and Helen Stevenson, the same two people who have been talking about transparency in the Ontario drug coverage system. I believe these two individuals owe Ontario citizens a huge apology and explanation. But what's even more upsetting is that if you go to the link above, you'll find the public sector salary disclosure page for Ontario, and you'll find out that Helen Stevenson gets paid over $280,000 yearly of our tax money to go around talking about transparency and fair drug prices, while she does everything to encourage the exact opposite behind our backs for the purpose of getting confidential kickbacks from billion-dollar big pharma brand name companies. Go to your MPP today and demand an explanation. Go to stopcuts.ca to find out more.